Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's tutorial, I will demonstrate how to make a hidden button placket. Hi, my name is Ayo and welcome to 011 Clothings Tutorials. On this channel, I upload DIYs, pattern drafting and sewing tutorials. If you haven't subscribed yet, kindly do so, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I upload a new video. So now, let's get right into the tutorial. Thank you! I'll be working with the following items: tape measure, pens, marker pen, a pair of fabric scissors, a pair of paper scissors, ruler, some interfacing, my fabric of choice, basic bodice pattern for the front, pattern paper. So I have here the basic bodice pattern for the front, and this is the center front. And this is another basic bodice pattern for the front. This pattern piece will be on the right when the shirt is worn, especially if the shirt is for a woman. And this second front piece will be on the left side of the body. This is the front piece that should be on the left. I will pin it in place to another pattern paper like this. I will draw horizontal lines from the base of the front neckline and also from the hem of the pattern like this. I will now measure and mark 1 inch for the button stand, another 1 inch for the facing and half an inch for the seam allowance. I will do the same thing at the hem as well. I will now connect these points together with vertical lines like this. So this is the button stand, this is the facing, and this is the seam allowance. I will transfer the waist and the bust darts to the new pattern paper using a tracing wheel like this. Then I will cut out the pattern. I will draw out the armhole line, the bust line, and the darts. This is the center front. This is the left front piece, and this is how I will fold the button stand in place on the fabric. This is the right front piece, and the finished width of the button placket is 2 inches. I will now create the hidden placket on the right front piece. You can also do this on the left front piece if you are making the garment for a man. I will draw horizontal lines from the base of the front neckline and also from the hem. First, I will measure and mark 1 inch from the center front on the 2 horizontal lines. I will now connect the 2 points together with a vertical line like this. Next, I will measure and mark 2 inches from the 1 inch point on the horizontal line. I will now connect the 2 points together with vertical line like this. This 2 inch is the button stand, and it will be visible on the exterior of the garment. Next, I will measure and mark 1 inch on the 2 horizontal lines from the previous 2 inch points. I will connect the 2 points together with a vertical line like this. Next, I will measure and mark 3/4 of an inch on the 2 horizontal from the previous 1-inch points, and I will connect the 2 points together with a vertical line like this. Next, I will measure and mark 3 inches from the previous 3/4 inch points on the 2 horizontal lines. I will connect the 2 points together with a vertical line like this. This is the facing and the seam allowance. I'll go ahead and cut it out. This is how the hidden button placket will be folded in place on the fabric. And the placket will be stitched in place like this. So these are the right and the left front pieces that will be used to create the hidden button stand. You have to make sure that the right side actually falls on the right side of the body, and the left side also actually falls on the left side of the body when cutting out the fabric. So I am going to cut out these 2 front pieces on the fabric with the right side facing up. I have pinned the 2 pattern pieces on the fabric. The right side of the fabric is facing up. I laid out the pattern pieces just the way it will be on the body when the garment is worn. I used half an inch seam allowance all around the pattern except for the side seam where I used 1 inch side seam allowance. There is no seam allowance at the center front because we have already added enough allowance at the center front for the concealed button stand. I will now go ahead and do the cutting now. I will notch the dart positions on the 2 front pieces. I will transfer the exact positions of all the vertical lines that I drew on the pattern to the fabric by notching the points like this at the top and also at the hem. I will do the same thing on the second front piece as well. So these are the 2 front pieces, and I have fused interfacing to the wrong sides of the 2 front pieces. I fused interfacing just on the bottom placket area. As you can see, I have already notched the positions of all the vertical lines that I drew on the pattern. I have transferred them to the fabric. I will now go ahead and fold the button stand in place using a pressing iron. This is the right front piece. This is the center front on the pattern, and this is the center front on the fabric. I have notched the position as you can see. This line on the front pattern, the next line after the center front line, I will fold it in place on the fabric like this. Then I will iron it in place. So this is what I just did on the fabric. Next, I will do the second folding like this. So this is the point that will be folded on the fabric. So So I'll fold it in place just like I did on the paper. And I will iron it in place like this. So now I'm done with the ironing, and this is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like on the pattern. Next, I will do the third folding. I will fold this line in place like this to the wrong side. This newly folded edge should be 1/4 of an inch smaller than this previous edge. So on the fabric, I will flip it to the wrong side like this. And I will fold the corresponding line that I just folded on the paper pattern. I will fold it in place on the fabric like this. I will iron it in place. As you can see, this newly folded edge is 1/4 of an inch smaller than the previous edge. This will prevent the underfold from showing. What I have left is 3 inches wide, and this is the facing with the same allowance. So using this folded edge as a reference point, I will now fold the facing with the same allowance into 2 equal halves, like this. This is the 4th fold. On the fabric, I will also do the same thing. I will iron it in place. The next thing to do is to insert the edge of the facing with the same allowance into this opening that I've created here, and I will press it in place like this on the paper. On the sewing machine, what I'm going to do is to lift up the placket and sew it in place like this. Back to the fabric, I will insert the edge of the facing with the same allowance into this opening that we have here. And iron it in place like this. This is where I'm going to fix the buttonholes. So we will just go ahead and sew the hidden button placket in place vertically. This is the left front piece, and I've already notched the positions of the vertical fold lines, as you can see. The first thing to do is to fold the seam allowance in place. I will now do it on the fabric like this, and I will iron it in place. Next, I will fold the facing in place like this to the wrong side. On the fabric, I will fold the facing to the wrong side of the fabric like this, and I will iron it in place. I will now stitch it in place vertically like this on the sewing machine. This is the right front piece. What we should do now is to go ahead and sew the button stand in place. It looks quite simple, right? But if we go ahead and sew this directly on the sewing machine, we will end up sewing what we are not meant to sew. So what I will do first of all is to baste it in place with the needle and thread. I will pull out the button stand like this. And then I will do the basting. So now that I'm done with the basting, I will now go ahead and sew the button stand in place. I will do the stitching now. This is the right front piece. As you can see, It is still very easy to stick the button stand incorrectly even though it has been basted in place. So I will go ahead and arrange the button stand very well like this. Then I will now sew it in place. This is the second front piece, the one that will be on the left. I will now go ahead and stick it in place like this. I'm sewing from the wrong side of the fabric, but you can also sew it from the right side. These are the two front pieces, and I've sewn the button stand in place. I will now go ahead and remove the basting thread. Next, I will go ahead and fix the buttons and the button holes to the button stand. The button holes will be on the right piece and the buttons will be on the left front piece. It should be the other way around if you are making the garment for a man. So now that has been done, as you can see, and this is the final look of the hidden button placket. Stay tuned for my next tutorial where I will show you another way to make a hidden button placket. So that's it guys, we are done. If you find this video helpful, do not forget to give it a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, share this with your friends who are interested in sewing, and do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. See you in my next tutorial. Bye and thank you so much for watching.